BZFlag is a free, open-source, online multiplayer video game. A first-person tank battle game, similar in concept to Battlezone. It was originally written by Chris Schoeneman for SGI graphics workstations running IRX, but has now been ported to other operating systems including Microsoft Windows, OS X, GNU/Linux, BSD, and Solaris. The source code is available freely from the project's website under the GNU Lesser General Public License. BZFlag was originally written in C by Chris Schoeneman in 1992 based on the chart-topping hit arcade game, Battlezone. At first, BZFlag was called BZ, and despite its similarity to the SGI game of the same title by Chris Fouts, both games were completely independent of each other. Originally, BZFlag was simply a shoot-'em-up game with no other modes. However, after Schoeneman and his friend Rick Pasetto became bored with the concept, they invented the Capture the Flag mode. This new mode added a requirement of strategy, teamwork, and skill, which was sufficient to keep interest. In 1993, BZFlag was released to the public for the first time. This release took a new turn compared to older versions after a cheater, who edited the source code of his client to give himself powers that do not come from official releases, inspired Schoeneman and Pasetto to add superflags. Superflags affect a tank's performance by adding abilities or weapons to its arsenal. The first 4 flags were high speed, quick turn, rapid fire, and Oscillation Overthruster. There was only one of each flag, and all flags had a marker on them, so tanks knew what type it was. Soon after, bad and good flags were added, and the idea remains part of gameplay today. However, flags do not have markers, and are completely unknown of their types until they are picked up by a tank. In 1997, the release of version 1.70 came with a groundbreaking new feature: an in-game public server list. Previously, players had to either set up their own servers, know of servers, or read a list published and maintained by a third party, but the new server list allowed anybody to play games on servers that chose to become public. Schoeneman eventually rewrote BZFlag in C++ for SGI's third Battlezone competition, which won in the Reality Engine category. Tim Riker was later given the project prior to version 1.70 to maintain and evolve. BZFlag is written in C++ and uses OpenGL for rendering. Its audio and several other subsystems have been written using OS-specific methods. New releases use SDL to perform low-level operations on all platforms, except for Microsoft Windows. Textures for in-game objects are loaded from PNG files. Audio from WAVs. zlib is used to decompress data files, which is written in C. The number of contributors to the project has steadily increased over time. The project invites all sufficiently experienced developers to contribute. Though there are currently 64 listed developers, a much smaller number of those are active contributors. Developers are able to edit any of the project's files to make changes at any time. However, when a developer has made an edit, of which other developers do not approve, or is inappropriate for the game, they are requested to revert to the previous version of the file. Most developers monitor source edits using the mailing list available on sourceeffage.net. The copyright holder for the game is Tim Riker, but maintenance is guided by Jeffrey Myers and Scott Witzer as project managers. The game's original author, Chris Schoeneman, is no longer involved in development. In a game of BZFlag, players drive around tanks, viewed from a first-person view, in a server-defined world, which can be modified. Tanks have the ability to drive through other tanks, but cannot travel through buildings or other world objects. The basic objective is to destroy opponents' tanks, which are tanks of another team's color. Since all players can see the position of all the tanks on their radar, it is a game of outmaneuvering rather than sneaking.